Welcome back to the Erotic Realm. As the year comes to a close, I've been reflecting on the conversations that shaped this season, the stories and psychologies that revealed how diverse, complex, and beautiful the erotic mind can be. Over the next 2 months, I'll be releasing a special end-of-year series, 2 episodes a week from now until the end of December. You'll also hear the live recordings from the Erotic Realm Confessionals, the first of which was released this week. And I'll also dive deep into the major themes that emerged this year across gender and BDSM roles. And for my 40th birthday in December, an intimate special exploring my very own erotic realm. And for the many of you who have joined recently, this is the perfect doorway into the erotic realm, where we explore the science, symbolism, and stories of desire, one erotic realm at a time. If you'd like to support this work as it grows into 2026 and beyond, you can become a paid subscriber on Substack for the price of a coffee a month. Your support allows me to continue with the mission of the erotic realm, which is humanizing kink and darker desires. Simply visit psychologyofdesire.substack.com. And to close out the year, I'll be releasing a New Year's special, a collection of mini episodes sharing people's kinky desires and erotic resolutions for the year ahead. And then I'll be bringing those same guests back at the end of next year to see what became of their erotic goals. It should be really fun to see the evolution and what happened over the year.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Price is higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
But for now, let's return back to the revisiting of the episode. Enjoy. Welcome to the Erotic Realm podcast, where we explore the psychology of darker desires. I'm Em, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm a psychosexuality nerd with a background in psychology, sociology, medical science, and tantra. I'm also in a 24/7 collared relationship, and I'm passionate about humanizing kinksters. Join me here for in-depth one-on-one conversations as we explore the fascinating world of eroticism, one erotic realm at a time. If you love what we're doing here in the erotic realm, I'd like to ask you a quick favor. Can you follow and rate the show on Spotify? It helps the show reach more people like you. And if you haven't yet, I'd love if you could subscribe to my Substack, Psychology of Desire. This is where I go even deeper into the science of symbolism, of desire, archetypes, and erotic evolution. You'll get access to articles, unique surveys and research, and behind-the-scenes access to everything we're building. Visit psychologyofdesire.substack.com. I'll see you there. And now for today's episode. The following is a conversation with Larry, a 53-year-old married, straight, male fetishist, foot photographer, and proud pervert from Chicago. In this episode, we step into the intimate world of foot worship and fetish expression. From the textures of souls to the neuroscience behind arousal, this conversation offers a deeply personal and culturally rich perspective on one of the most common and most misunderstood fetishes. We talk about Larry's first foot moment, the aesthetics of arches and wrinkles, and the erotic art of tickling. We also explore the stigma still surrounding foot fetishes and what it means to be open, playful, and proud of one's desires in a world that still doesn't always understand them. I'd also like to share that I'll be releasing my very first Psychology of Desire case file tomorrow on Substack. This will be titled The Soul of Desire, Foot Fetish Origins. This in-depth essay unpacks the neuroscience, psychology, and symbolic roots of foot fetishism. And it introduces a novel perspective that may reshape how we understand erotic wiring. It's the perfect companion to today's episode. The case files are part of an ongoing new series I'm writing that investigates specific aspects of desire, from taboo fantasies to kink psychology to everyday desires, through the lens of research, symbolism, and real human experience. Think of it as a forensic deep dive into what turns us on and why. The link is in the episode description, or head to psychologyofdesire.substack.com to read it. And if you're curious to explore your own erotic psychology, I'm currently offering 2 pre-sale courses: Activate Your Desire and Decode My Desire. These are exclusively available right now to podcast listeners and Substack readers as part of their early access launch. You'll find the links in the show notes. Back to today's episode, which is for anyone who has ever felt a flicker of fascination for feet, or just wants to understand the psychology behind why this fetish is so powerful for so many people, so enduring, and deeply human. Please listen, reflect, and if you feel seen, let me know. Enjoy. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Erotic Realm podcast. Today, I'm very happy to have with me Larry. Welcome, Larry.
How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and whatever time frame you are.
Happy to have you here. Now, listeners have been asking to get a better sense of the whole person behind their kinks at the start of the podcast. So I'd love to start there. Outside of your erotic life, Larry, what are some of your interests or passions, whether it's the kind of work that you do, hobbies you love, or how you like to spend your time? What does life look like for you when you're not in a kinky headspace?
Okay, well, when I'm not in the kinky head space, I like to really sit and meditate and just take in all the life works I've done. I worked for 30 years for the transportation system in Chicago, so I've been retired since 2021. So since 2022. Since 2022, basically gave me more free time to indulge in my passion for photography or anything when it comes to the arts, whether it be drawing or taking photos or doing videos or anything artistic. I'm an artistic type of person, so anything that has any type of artistic value to it, that's what I spend most of my time. My wife is a yogi head, so she has me involved in a lot of yoga, so I spend a lot of time meditating, doing yoga, besides doing amateur photography. So those basically the 2 things I indulge in since I've been retired: yoga and photography.
Amazing. So now I'd love to dive into your sexuality. If you had to sum it up, how would you describe it?
Oh my Jesus. It's like most guys that can't admit to themselves, but I'm one of the few true guys that can admit that I'm a pervert. Like most
Mm-hmm.
guys. Most guys squirm at that word because it sounds so weird and creepish and so perverted, but hey, you gotta embrace what you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pervert, so I would say perv.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the kinky roles, what kinky roles would you describe yourself as?
It varies. I'm a Gemini, so as a Gemini, I can go across the whole spectrum from being a sometime part-time dom to being a suave Francois Don Casanova player, or I can just dwell in being just a sensual person. When it comes to sexuality, I'm always been a type of person that it's about me getting my satisfaction, but I also am not a selfish person. I would like to see my person that I'm having sexual relations to get their rocks off as well. So if she's getting her rocks off, that's enhances the sexuality and the pleasure that I receive, knowing that the partner is enjoying it just as much as I am. So
Okay, it's my understanding that you're also a fetishist. Can you tell us more about that part of your sexuality?
A fetishist part of my sexuality is strictly foot fetishism is my main one. I've
Hmm.
been a foot fetish guy, true blue, since I was, oh man, I'm going back over 40, 45 years when I was a little boy, and it just grew on me from then all the way up into my adult life now. I'm a hardcore foot fetisher to the extreme.
Hmm. So let's unpack that a bit more. Let's go back to the beginning. When did you
Okay.
first realize you were erotically drawn to feet? Do you remember your first foot moment?
Now, this is where it gets, some listeners may say, okay, well, this is a little creepy, but when I do foot photo shoots with a lot of models, I've shot over at least 600 plus women since 1997, 98, when I first started doing foot photography. So
Hmm.
they always ask the question, what made you get into feet? How'd you like feet? And I always tell them the story that, my mother had 6 kids. She used to come home tired. She was a single parent. Which one of y'all gonna massage my feet? We little kids. We think feet are stinky, nasty, dirty. Nobody wants to touch no feet, especially after somebody been standing on their feet all day. They stink,
Hmm.
dirty. So we used to always say, well, I'm not gonna massage your feet. I don't want to massage your feet. So all my sisters, now I'm the only boy. I got 5 sisters,
Hmm.
and I'm the only boy. So they all used to gang up and say, well, Larry's gonna massage the feet. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to massage your feet. She'd be like, boy, get over here and massage my feet. So I used to go over there and pout and stump my feet and reluctantly massage her feet, and it started growing on me. So after a few times of massaging my mother's feet, she used to come home from work, and I used to look forward to her, asking for somebody to massage her feet so I can massage her feet, so I can feel on her feet. And it just took off from there.
Okay,
Now that
that's
sounds creepy, but I'm just being open and honest. That's how it started.
that's interesting because I've heard a few people describe that their first moment had something to do with their mother's feet, and I always thought that it was associated with maybe the comfort or the mother looking after the person. But for you, it started off as something that you didn't enjoy, and it gradually became enjoyable for
Yeah.
you.
Yes. I used to look forward to massaging her feet, and what drove me, and people ask, well, what drove you into liking feet just because your mother forced you to massage her feet? And when I tell my mother this story, because my mother know I'm an extreme hardcore foot fetisher, when I share that
Mm.
story with her, she looks at me like, no, I did. No, I did. Of course, she always wanted to deny. like, I'm like, Mom, it started with you, all right? Whether you knew it or not, it started with you. And she always wants to deny that she didn't force me to massage her feet, but she's always forced me to massage her feet, and I just took to it. And ever since then, I hit a foot fetish. I found myself as a little boy sinking to my little sister's room and my big sister's room, playing with their feet as they sleep. And as they was waking up, I would run out the room because I want them to know it was me playing with their feet, but I always play with their feet. And it's just stuck. And it all started with my mother.
Okay. So let's go into that more. What kind of feeling do you get from touching and massaging feet? Is it a feeling of comfort or are there other feelings associated with it for you?
Now that is interesting you asked a question like that, because as a little boy, me not really fully understanding sexuality, I just
Mm,
like doing it because it was something to do, and because it's something I enjoyed. I didn't have really no feeling associated with that, but as I
mm,
became more mature and grew as a man and became more sexual, the foot fetish always was there. So every time I would have sexual relations with a woman growing up, feet always played a part in that. I will always have to see how her feet looked, or was she okay with a guy being into foot fetishism? Because if she wasn't, I knew that this was a woman that I couldn't mess around with on a serious level, because she wouldn't accept me for
mm.
what I really liked, my passion for foot fetishism. Because most women to this day think foot fetishism is sick, crazy, weird, creep, etc., etc. So
Mm-hmm.
I still got to battle that even now as a grown man at 54 years old.
Yeah, there is a lot of stigma associated with it. I'd like to get into that a bit later. For now, I want
Okay.
to focus on what it is about feet that captivates you. Is it visual, the feeling of the foot, something else completely? Can you describe what it is about feet that you enjoy?
Yes, and again, another good question and an interesting question, because I always try to explain women when we're talking about foot fetishes. I'm always break it down to foot fetishism 101.
Mm-hmm.
If you get 100 guys in a room and they all got a foot fetish, all 100 guys going to tell you they like something different that's not associated with my particular fetish, but it's in the foot fetish family. For example, my particular fetish is the soles of the feet. Now, most average people that's not into the foot fetish community think that if you got a foot fetish, you like to lick and suck on feet because they always associate that with the movie Boomerang, when Eddie Murphy looked at Robin Givens' feet and saw that her feet was jacked up, and it was a turnoff for him. But me being into soles, I'm like, okay, well, she had bunions and corns on her toes, but that if he's a sole guy, how did her soles look? If her soles is okay, then she got nice feet to me, even though she got corns and bunions, and people don't understand that. So you may have 100 guys that got a foot fetish, 10 of them might like toes. They like the appearance of the toes. Now, if they got corns and bunions, then the feet may not be appealing. You may have 10 guys that like soles. If the soles are calloused up or got dry peeling skin, then those not appealing soles. Then you have another 10 guys, they into tickling. They don't care about the appearance of the toes. They don't care about the appearance of the toes. They into tickling. You got another 10 guys, they into the stockings. They want women to wear nylons. They don't care if the feet are bare. They want the feet to be stockinged with nylons. Some guys, you got another 10 guys that like heels. They like to see women in nylons and heels, or barefoot with heels on. So they into the shoe aspect, but it's all within the foot fetish family. You have another 10 guys, they into the trampling. They want to be trampled by female feet only. Long as it's a female doing it, they're enjoying their fetish because it's a female trampling with her feet. So that's part of the foot fetish realm. You have another 10 guys that's into the smell factor. They like the smell of that natural pungent foot smell. Not a stinky smell, but just that natural pungent foot scent that drives guys crazy. So I'm into that too. So when it comes to me, I like soles, and women always ask, well, what about the soles you like? I like the soles because they wrinkle. I like the soles because they ticklish, and I like the soles because they stink and they smelly, that natural foot smell. So tickling, you have another 10 guys into tickling. So, I mean, the foot fetish has so many different cliques and sects to it, but it's all within a family of foot fetishism. So you got the nylons, tickling, soles, toes, the foot worship where the guys like to lick and suck on toes, the tickling where guys like to just tickle the feet, the nylons, the trampling, etc., etc. So the foot fetish can expand way beyond just worshiping, licking, and sucking on feet.
I love that. Thank you for describing all of that. I think it's so important for people to understand that to have a foot fetish is, it ranges, right? There's like a spectrum of foot fetish.
Yes. Yes, and I tell people you gotta look more. It's just not because the contrary to what people think, that I'm like, out of all the women who feet I've played with in my life, very rarely, extremely rare would I put a foot in my mouth because I'm not into the worship. But you have guys that's into the worship. See, my thing is souls, my thing is smelling, my thing is tickling. Those are three things I like: souls, tickling, and smelling. I'm not into the worship. I'm not into the nylons. I'm not into the trampling or the foot jobs, etc., etc. But it's other guys that have hardcore foot fetishes like me that's into that particular realm of the foot fetish. I'm just not into it. That's all. So, you have different cliques of the foot fetish, and it varies across who you ask.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're into soles and particularly the wrinkles of the sole of a foot. What makes a good wrinkle on a foot? Do you mean less wrinkles, more wrinkles, deep, shallow? What do you mean by wrinkles?
The wrinkly, the better.
Okay.
The stinkier, the kinkier. So when it comes to soles, if a woman can curl her toes down and make her soles wrinkle as much as possible, that is awesome. If a woman has that natural foot scent, because women think that a guy with a foot fetish like me that's into the smell aspect, like a stinky foot. And I'm like, no, women's foot. Now, I've smelled on thousands upon thousands of women's feet. I only can think on maybe one or two hands how many women had an awful, putrid, awful smell that was just god awful that I would never want to smell again. But most women, if they work in a job, they stand on their feet for 10 hours, 12 hours, and they shoes, they got on work boots or they got on those flats, they think their feet are hot and sweaty and stinky. And when I smell on them, I'm like, your feet are hot, yes. They are sweaty, yes. But do they stink? No. They have that natural pungent foot scent. There's not an awful smell, but that natural pheromone that just drive guys like me to get that smell factor absolutely wild.
So I'm still curious about the wrinkles. Is it the
Okay.
visual of the wrinkles that you enjoy or the way the wrinkles feel or both?
Both.
Okay.
When you go online, I always tell people this. If you go online on Google or Bing or whatever your search engine is, and let's type in female wrinkled soles, and you look at the photos of the women feet that's wrinkled, and you look at the soles, the feel on them, and to just see the visual effect that the wrinkles have is just, for me, just fascinating since I was a little boy all the way up to now to today. I just never
Mm-hmm.
can get enough of it.
Mm. Which is what a fetish is all about, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
what
Can't get enough.
yeah, what about the arch of the foot? You haven't mentioned the arch of the foot. Is that important to you?
Now that I'm glad you asked some very good questions. Now I want to clear it up. The arch is not really a big thing for me, but when I shoot a particular foot model, if she has an arch, that's an added plus because believe it or not, most women don't have deep arches. But to find a woman with a deep arch is like finding a needle in a haystack. You want to highlight that. You want to
Mm-hmm.
highlight her arch. So I take a lot of photos and do a lot of videos of the arch aspect so I can highlight that particular aspect of her feet that's fascinating because to find a deep arch is like, again, a needle in a haystack. You don't find too many women with a deep, deep arch. That's rare, very rare.
So am I right in thinking that it's not so much part of your fetish, the arch, but more part of your photography interest?
Yeah, that's part of
Mm-hmm.
the photography interest. Me personally, when it comes to an arch or a semi arch or a flat foot, that's not really a big thing to me, long as the feet stink and are
Mm-hmm.
ticklish and wrinkly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. We're getting a good, clear picture of what you enjoy. Now, one of the traditions on the show is that I ask guests to reflect on a famous quote about sexuality. And today's is from none other than Sigmund Freud. So,
Okay.
love him or hate him, he had a lot to say about desire and its strange disguises. In his 1927 paper, Fetishism, Freud wrote, in the fetish, the normal sexual object is replaced by another which bears some relation to it but is not the same. Now, of course, this was written at a time when Freud viewed fetishes as a kind of pathology, but I'm still curious about how that quote sits with you. Do you think fetishes, especially something like a foot fetish, are really about substitution, or does it feel more like its own kind of erotic truth to you?
I would go with the latter, what you said. It felt like an erotic truth to me
Mm,
because I've always been one to say people like what they like. And you would be, in today's date, 2025, it's still a large majority of people in the kink community, in the underground sexual underworld that still looks upon foot fetishism as some sick, creepy fetish that
mm-hmm,
you need to have your brain examined. And I'm like, I meet people from all walks of life that are into the sexual underground, into swinging hardcore, into all types of extreme sex acts. But when they found out that I like feet, oh,
mm.
something is wrong with me. You're a sick maniac. You need to be locked up.
Yep. So,
And then I'm like, how can you possibly think that way when you're into the fetishes that you're into that
mm,
society frowns upon?
mm,
But you're
yep.
judging me for being into a simple, basic, something that the most popular fetish in the world is the foot fetish. The most
Mm-hmm,
basic foot fetish, the most basic fetish in the world is the foot fetish. But yet you're judging me because I like feet when you're into some of the most extreme things that the human mind can conjure. But yet you're judging me for something so simple.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about the stigma. I want to bring in a real research study that sheds light on this often misunderstood fetish of feet. So in 2007, researchers analysed 381 internet discussion groups focused on fetishes. And what they found was fascinating. Nearly half of all body part related fetish interests, about 47%, were focused on feet and toes. So, in other words, as you're saying, foot fetishism isn't rare or weird. It's actually the most commonly discussed body part fetish online. So it sounds like it doesn't surprise you, but I'm interested in hearing, does it surprise you that nearly half of all body part fetishes discussed online are focused on feet?
It does not surprise me at all. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what to say. I guess it's because of now here in America. the cultural is different when it comes to foot fetishes versus other parts of the countries or other parts of the world where it's more openly accepted. But here in America, it's popular and they make fun of it in movies, on their songs, or et cetera, et cetera. But when I go to underground sexual parties, when I used to deal in that type of lifestyle, because I come from a lifestyle of swinging and amateur porn, and they still look upon the foot fetish as being some type of dirty, sick, creepy fetish, even though you're doing sexual acts that society will frown upon in itself. But here you judge me because I like feet. So
Hmm.
it's still a hard walk for guys that got a foot fetish. And when I'm online in foot fetish forums and we're discussing feet and stuff like that, guys mirror the same stuff I'm telling you now in the listening audience, that the foot fetish is still frowned upon for some sick, strange reason. Even though it's the most popular fetish, the most common fetish, the most harmless fetish, but it's still looked at as the most creepiest and sick fetish. I don't get it.
Mm.
I can't make sense of it.
Me either. So you mentioned that you face this judgment and misperceptions about your fetish. How do you respond to people if they say something to you like foot fetish is creepy in person? What would you say to someone that has this view?
All right, now I don't know if your podcast how far it can go as far as openness and sexual vulgarity, but
It's rated R, it's 18 plus.
okay,
So
okay, then I got the green light. So the answer to that question is, let's say if I'm at if I respond to an online ad to go to a swingers party, and I go to a swingers party, and at the swingers parties, all the people that's participating, you look at their profile and see what they into. Some people may be into anal sex, some people may be into fisting, some people may be into cream pie, some people may be into swallowing. All these particular sex acts are considered by society as being scornful, immoral, etc., etc. But yet, when I come to the swing party and tell them that I got a foot fetish, whoa, you must be a maniac. You're sick. How can you like feet? But yet, yet the very same people passing judgment on me are the same people that's into the cream pies, that's into
mhm.
anal fisting, that's into swallowing, that's into cream, that's etc. etc. The fetishes that they into can't compare to the foot fetish, but yet they judge me for having the foot fetish. So it's still some type of scorn, even amongst kinksters, when it comes to foot fetishes.
The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back at your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. With Rakuten, you get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. From toys for the kids, to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook, to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love and cash back is automatically added to your account. And you can get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership rewards points instead of cash back. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTEN. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you think part of it could be a hygiene concern that some people have? Some people think that feet are inherently dirty because they're touching the ground a lot. You know, people walk around without shoes on. You don't really know where their feet have been. Do you think that's part of it?
No.
No?
Because my comeback with that would be, well, so is every sexual body part
Mm-hmm.
that you derive pleasure from.
Mm-hmm.
Your vaginal your vaginal private parts, your anal private parts, your breasts, all those things could be considered fetish. They all sweat and get dirty and smell. A simple wash up and the problem is solved. The same with feet. You can simply just wash your feet and they clean, dirt free, etc., etc. But
Mm-hmm.
some guys, again, you taken away from the fetish. Me personally, I get off on the smell of the feet. So if a woman washes her feet, that takes away the natural hormone that her feet has, and it's gonna be too clean. There's not gonna be no smell there. And I want to have some type of natural pungent foot scent. Most
Mm-hmm.
guys that's into the foot smell gonna want some type of pungent natural foot scent, not a clean foot, but a natural sweaty, natural smell from the feet.
So why do you think so many people are drawn to feet?
I guess it's just born in you. I don't know what drew me to feet. Again, my mother
Hmm.
forced me to massage her feet, and I've been a foot boy ever since. So that's a hardcore. Every guy is different, and
Hmm.
every guy has a different story when it comes to what drove them into the foot fetish. But my story is massaging my mother's feet drew me into the foot fetish, and I've been hooked ever since. And I'm gonna be a hardcore, true blue foot fetish until the day I leave this earth.
Hmm.
I'm never gonna leave it. It's a part of me. That's just who I am. My wife accepts it, and luckily, I'm a lucky guy because my wife accepted me having a foot fetish. So sometimes I sleep under her feet just to sniff her feet all day after a hard day's work to smell that natural foot smell. I'll just sleep under her feet until I go to sleep.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, do you remember the first time you shared your foot fetish with someone and what that felt like?
The first time shared my foot fetish with someone, I can't remember the first time well, I get. I don't know who the person was in particular, but I can tell you this: sharing a foot fetish with just an average Joe Blow person was scornful, was
Mm.
judgmental. You're crazy. You're a creep. You're a weirdo. You're sick. Something wrong with you. You need to be examined, etc., etc. All the stigmatism that comes from being open and comfortable with your sexuality.
Hmm. So, if someone listening today felt curious about their own foot fetish or maybe wanted to share it with a partner, what advice would you give them about owning it with confidence and sharing it with their partner?
I will have them sit down and explain to their partner that, listen, this is who I am. I'm a foot fetish guy from blue. I want to be open. I'm tired of hiding it. And that's who I am. You got to,
Mm.
if you really truly love me, if we have great times together, if you want to build a future with me, I'm a good guy to build a future with. You got to accept that part of me that is foot fetishes. Because I'm quite sure it's a part of her that's probably hiding out that she's scared to tell him.
Hmm.
So they just need to be open and sit down and conversate as grown adults. So it won't be no hidden secrets. Because if the guy feels that his wife or girlfriend or lover won't accept the foot fetish because of the stigma that comes with having a foot fetish, it's gonna be problems once she finds that out. Because he's going behind her back, going online, being on foot forums or foot fetish websites or conversing with foot models, paying her to have foot sessions with. So it's
Mm.
going to cause conflicts in their relationship. So it's just best to be open. If a woman can't accept that, then maybe she ain't the one for you because you got to be free. Now I'm lucky. Again, my wife accepted my foot fetish. We've been together for 18 years. I'm not leaving her. She's not leaving me. She understands I do foot fetish shoots with foot models that still that's in the lifestyle. So she accepts my lifestyle because I met my wife in a foot fetish lifestyle. So how can she not accept me being a foot fetisher? Because that's how we met.
So, do you agree that if you don't express your fetish, it will find a way to be expressed?
It will find a way to be expressed for the
Mm.
better or for the worse.
Hmm.
That may be in your benefit or it may be to your detriment. Because again, if a woman think that you had out on her because you got a foot fetish because she caught you going online, being on foot forums or looking at women's feet online, then that's a discussion. That's a prime discussion to have with her at that time, so it won't be no further conflicts. But if she can't accept that because she thinks that's too sick, then maybe she ain't the one for you.
Hmm. That's great advice. Thank you. I wanted to ask you more about your photography. When you're photographing someone's feet, what are you trying to capture?
I'm trying to catch any aspect of her feet that I can highlight, whether it be the wrinkles or whether it be the foot positions, whether she can spread her toes far apart. We call that the spread eagle in the foot fetish community. Or if she can curl her toes down and make her soles real wrinkly, we call that the curl down. Or if she can take her two big toes and point them up and curl the rest of her toes down, we call that the thumbs up. So depending on her foot athleticism, I highlight what position she can do the best. Some women can do the toe spread better than all the other positions. Some women can do the thumbs up better than all the positions. And some women can do the curl down better than all the positions. So it depends on what position she can do the best and what access of her feet I can highlight, whether it be the arch, the wrinkles, the toe spread, the thumbs up, the nail bed. If she got nice toes, I can highlight that. If she got nice heels, I can highlight that. So I do the whole spectrum because when it comes to foot photography, I realize it's not just about what I like, but I try to cater to the foot fetish community as a whole and highlight heels, toes, soles, wrinkles, toe spreads, the spectrum. Nylon. Sometimes I shoot with stockings, and believe it or not, some guys want to see women walking barefoot, dirty feet. Not extremely dirty, even though it's a small segment of the foot fetish world that like dirty feet. I like to see a little dirt on the feet because sometimes before I start to shoot, women say, "Well, let me clean my feet." I'm like, "No, your feet fine." They're like, "You want my feet to be dirty and ashy?" I'm like, "Yeah." I want to highlight that because some people in the foot fetish community want to see that.
Fascinating.
Yes, fascinating. It's fascinating. I love it.
I can tell. Now, do you find that shooting feet helps you connect with people in a different way than verbal communication?
Well, when it comes to when I shoot models and I explain my fascination with feet and break down foot fetish 101, as I've been doing with you so far, they get a clear, true blue understanding of foot fetish. And they never knew that a guy can be just into soles. They never knew a guy can be just into tickling. They never knew a guy can be just into getting a foot job. They never knew a guy can be just into smelling the feet. They never knew a guy can be just into tickling the feet. So they fascinated by that a guy can have a foot fetish, but yet like certain things they thought was just relegated to just licking and sucking on feet. Not to, like I tell people, I don't hardly ever lick and suck on feet. A foot never goes into my mouth. I hardly ever lick and suck on my wife's feet because I'm not into that realm. But even though I know there's a large segment of the foot fetish world that like to lick and suck on feet, the worship aspect, but that's not my particular kink in the foot fetish world.
That's interesting to hear because I think a lot of people, when they hear foot fetish, that's what they imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I got to break it down. They get a clear understanding. I always tell women, when you want to break down a foot fetishism, you need to talk to a foot fetish guy. You need to talk to a foot fetish, and they can break it down way better than Hollywood or way better than what society forced down their head due to a Hollywood movie or to a comedian, et cetera, or a famous person who has their own bias to peeing or foot fetishes. They need to talk to a true blue foot fetisher to get the breakdown of foot fetishes.
Now, I'm curious to hear, have you had any powerful or unexpected moments with the photography model that left a lasting impression on you?
Actually, now this, I will say no. And now, let me let me let me explain why I say no, because me having such a passion and love for feet, I always get the question from foot models when I shoot them. They're like, "Well, what's the best pair of feet you ever shot?" And I'm like, "You asking me an impossible question because I've shot over 600 plus models. They all got nice feet, or I wouldn't have wasted my time on them. They all had something about their feet that I liked. So to break down which model had the best feet or what's the best pair of feet I ever shot, that's impossible to answer. It's just every model I shoot has nice feet, and they have something about their feet that I like. Or I wouldn't waste my time shooting them. So that's how I can best answer that.
Now,
There's no perfect pair of feet, and there's no, to me at least. Now, other guys may vary and differ with their answers, but to me, there's no perfect pair of feet. If I see a nice pair of feet that's photogenic, I think even I've never seen your feet. I checked out your profile page to look at, because when I'm on the site, I'll try to look at women's profile to see their feet pictures before I start some type of communication with them. But I ain't seen no foot pictures. But I'm quite sure your feet has something that can be highlighted.
Like a true artist, you see something in everyone.
Yes.
Now, Larry, what's one thing about your foot fetish that you aren't often asked about but would like to share with us today?
How did you get into it? What made you get into feet? How did this happen? And the best answer is, again, I explained to them the mother story as a little boy, how my mother used to force me to massage her feet and how it grew me since then. But it's just something about feet that you can't explain. And the only way I can tell people that push back against the foot fetish, I'll be like, you like what you like, I like what I like. And it's hard for me to explain it to you because it's not your thing. You only like what you like. And I always ask people, okay, I got a foot fetish. You don't. You think it's sick. So I say, what's your fetish? They say, well, I like how a guy lips look, or I like a guy teeth, or a guy hands. And I'm like, to me, that's crazy. I don't
Hmm.
see how you can look at a guy's hands and think that's sexy or cute. But again, I'm looking at it from their perspective. That's not my thing. So of course I would think it's crazy and off cue.
Hmm.
Foot fetish is not most people's thing. So of course they're gonna look at it as sick and crazy because it's not their thing. You just have to be into it to understand why a person would like feet. You got to be born with it. And I guess I was born with it. Nation. You just either if you like it or you don't like it. And most people don't like it. I'm just want to be one of the people that like it.
Now, Larry, I wanted to explore a common theory for the origins of foot fetishes with you. One of the
Okay.
most fascinating theories around foot fetishes comes from neuroscientist Ramachandran. And he noted that in the somatosensory cortex, that's the part of the brain responsible for mapping touch sensations from the body, the regions that represent the feet and the genitals are actually right next to each other. So he proposed that this proximity could lead to a kind of neural cross activation, where stimulation of the feet might incidentally light up the neighboring area responsible for genital sensations. In other words, in some brains, he's suggesting that touching feet might also tickle the erotic circuits, so to speak. So, given your lifelong connection to foot fetishism and the creative way you've turned it into art and expression, I'd love to hear your take on this. Does this theory of neural cross activation resonate with your own experience? Do you think that there could be a sensory wiring that could help explain why feet, more than other body parts, are such a consistent object of desire?
Yes. I can relate to that. I can
What?
relate to that.
How can you relate to that? Just because it feels like such an innate part of yourself, like you were born with it, maybe it's how your brain operates?
That and for some reason when it comes to the sexuality aspect with feet, when I'm touching my wife's feet, immediate hard on, because it not only the feel but also, like I told you earlier, the smell aspect. So her foot got that natural pungent scent, and I'm massaging her feet because I massage her feet quite often. Instant hard on, instantly.
Hmm. So,
That's instantly.
yeah, research and anecdotal reports suggest that foot fetishes are more commonly reported in men than in women. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's something cultural, neurological, something else?
I don't know. See, I think I would say something else, and the reason I would say that is because when it comes to the foot fetish, what I've experienced in my life is that by me being African American, most African American guys will have a foot fetish. But I got a lot of white friends, a lot of Hispanic friends, Asian friends. The foot fetish is so foreign to them. They think I'm a sick maniac because I like feet. But a lot of guys that's black like me, that's African American, we share the foot fetish. On most foot fetish forums, it's African American guys.
Really?
Most of the footballs I shoot, I ask them what's their biggest clientele. They'll tell me that whether the model was Asian, whether the model was white, whether the model was Latina, or whether the model was black, African American. They'll tell me their biggest clientele is African American guys, hardly ever any other ethnicity. So the foot fetish is big amongst black guys, but not amongst black women, because black women think the foot fetish is sick. They think the
That
foot fetish is crazy.
Okay, I haven't heard that before. That's fascinating. So you're
Yes,
saying
yes,
in
yes.
particular African American, so not African, but African American. So you're suggesting there's something about African American culture in particular that leads to foot fetishes?
For the males
Mm,
specific, because even when my son was a little boy like me, he used to gravitate towards his grandmother's feet. He used to gravitate towards his mother's feet. He used to always want to play with his grandmother's feet and want to play with his mother's feet. And I used to watch him. I'm like, man, he reminded me of me when I was little. I'm like, he gonna have a foot fetish.
hmm. So we talked about how it's most common amongst men. I'm curious, have you met any women at all that are into feet?
No, not zero. Now, by me being a true blue foot fetisher, there is a small segment of women that's into male feet, a small segment of women into women feet, a small segment of males that's into male feet. However, that's a small segment of the foot fetish community. 99% of the foot fetish community is males liking female feet. That
Mm.
1% is the other I just told you about.
Mm-hmm. And have you noticed any patterns in the women that are into feet in terms of culture, where they're from?
No, not necessarily. The few women I know that's into male feet or female feet, it comes across all spectrum. It could be a black, it could be a Asian, it could be a Latina, it could be a white. You know, I know women in the foot fetish world that desire male feet, and they come across all spectrums. But again, they make up just the 1%. And it's
Mm.
maybe like one Asian, maybe one white, maybe one black, maybe one Latina. So it's not like it's a lot of women.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Now, as part of our conversation today, Larry, I asked you to bring along something to share, such as a quote, a book, movie that's influenced your sexuality. Can you share with us what you've brought along today and how it has shaped your understanding of your erotic realm?
Porn. I didn't bring a book or nothing. Just porn.
Mm-hmm.
Since an early age, when I was 10 or 11, trying to watch porn on TV. Back when I was growing up, we had a little cable channel called On TV, but of course we couldn't afford it. So all adult movies came on at night after 10 o'clock. You know, it was called Adults Only after 10. And it was if you couldn't afford the service, a little line would come into the TV. And we used to try to take the antenna and string the antenna with a hanger so the line can move out the TV so you can watch the porn. And of course, the volume will be down because you didn't want your mother to hear the TV was on because you're supposed to be sleeping anyway. And just seeing a guy suck a lady's titty, or just seeing a guy getting his Johnson slobbed by a woman. Now, of course, they wouldn't show it back then, but just adult, just man, exploded my mind and every young mind like mine just went through the stratosphere.
And did you find that you were mostly looking at the feet when you were first watching porn, or was it more taking in the whole experience?
It was taking on a whole experience, but once my foot fetish got enhanced, I would spend, I can't tell you the countless hundreds of thousands of dollars I've spent on buying porn movies that were subpar just because the cover showed the female who was getting a sexual experience barefoot. And I wanted to see how her soles looked or how her feet looked. So I spent a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
that I shouldn't have had to spend just because the woman was barefoot on the cover. Yes. Sick, right?
Was that before you were actively exploring your fetish in real life? You were more imagining it?
It was just more imagination,
Mm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's before I came out to become the
Mm-hmm.
man I am now. That was me when I was still in my exploratory stage, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's chat about tickling. You
Okay.
shared that tickling turns you on, and this is a common fetish that seems to occur with foot fetish. What is it about tickling that pushes your buttons?
I guess it's the squirming, the natural reaction a woman has by having her foot tickled. Um, immediate hard on. I don't know why. I guess it's hardwired in me.
Mm-hmm.
That tickles. I try to, like I told you, I massage my wife's feet and smell her feet all the time and tickle her as much as I can tickle her. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it enhanced the sexuality between us by that me tickling her feet. Yes.
So why do you think tickling fetish often occurs with foot fetish? Is it different for every fetishist, like you explained about the foot fetish is different for everyone? Is it the same with tickling?
Yeah, it's that you got each guy that's into ticklet, they'll tell you that they into it for whatever their reason is. But what ticklers share when it comes to the foot fetish is the reaction of the woman, the feel of the soles. Every tickle guy has a tickle toolkit that they keep in their car or they keep in their house to tickle, but most people tickle with their hands. Um, Again, like yeah, every guy that has a tickle that's into the tickling aspect of the foot fetish, they have to answer that question for their own. What gets them off on it? But me, I get off on just seeing the reaction of the woman. When I tickle my wife, I can make her come off tickling her feet. Just tickling her feet, she can come.
That's amazing.
Depending on how I tickle them. Yeah, she has climaxed off me tickling her feet. Yes.
Has she explained how that occurs for her at all? I'm so curious.
Well, I try to pull out. It's just something that's naturally occurs. Because at first, when I first, like again, I told you, me and my wife been together for 18 years. I met her in the foot fetish lifestyle, and when I tickled her feet at first, she went into tickling. Her feet weren't even ticklish, but for some reason, I brought her into tickling because I used to always tickle her feet all the time. So now, if I breathe on her feet, she's jumping because her feet is so ticklish now. So I can't explain that because she was not a tickle lady at first, but now she's a tickle lady, a tickle queen to my advantage.
That's fascinating. So something about your connection has contributed to that as well.
Yes, yes, yes.
So is it only feet that you enjoy tickling, or do you enjoy tickling other parts of the body as well?
That's just that's feet. You got some ticklers, they into the neck and the underarms and the ribs and stuff like. I was only tickle the feet. That's because I got a foot fetish, of course, so only the feet.
Now, we have another tradition on the podcast where I ask the guest a question sourced by the listeners. So today's listener question is your foot fetish more an act of submission, or is it the foot itself that gets you sexually excited, or both?
I would have to say the foot itself because me being the guy that I am, to answer this question honestly, it's no. You have a small segment of the foot fetish realm that's into the sub lifestyle, but they natural subs anyway. So the foot fetish just enhance their submission to a dom. Me being the dominant guy that I am, I can never see myself submit to a woman because of her feet, because I'm too dominant for that. So it's just the foot for me.
So you never feel submissive even if you're on
No,
the ground,
no,
touching the foot and the woman is above you. So someone on
no.
the outside might look at you at that time and think that you're being submissive, but for you it's not about that at all.
No, it's not about that at all. Now, it's interesting that you asked that question because I do a lot of foot photography with doms. That's
Mm,
and they enter that realm of the foot fetish where they dominate their subs with their feet, but they know right away. I got to explain to them that even though they are dom and they live that lifestyle, that I'm not a dom at all. I'm just contacting them and want to do a foot photo shoot with them because their feet are nice, not because I'm a submissive, and they understand that, so they don't come at me with no disrespect as me being a sub or some type of simp or et cetera, et cetera. They respect me as the man that I am, and we do the shoot and handle our business and part ways. So it's no submissiveness to me personally. No, not looking down on people that got that sub aspect when it comes to the foot fetish. I'm not knocking that at all, but it's just not me.
Now, have you noticed any cultural or generational shifts in how foot fetishes are viewed across time?
Yes. In the African American community, the foot fetish is looked upon like you need to be locked up in a mental institution.
Do you think that's changing at all, or do you
No,
think it's just staying the same?
it's getting more stringent. The
Okay.
more stringent, the more the black women that I shoot that's African American that's into the foot fetishes, they only into it because there's a money aspect to it. They're not true blue foot fetishes. Like some of the white women, some of the Latino women, some of the Asian women I shoot, a part of them is into the fetish lifestyle naturally. But then to get paid for doing a shoot, it's this extra topping on the cake. But for African American women, from my perspective, it's strictly a money thing. Period.
So
Nothing more, nothing less.
why do you think the stigma is um, becoming higher? Why do you think the stigma is growing against foot fetish?
Money.
Okay, because
Everything
the
now is
money's being
money.
tied to it more and more.
Everything has been tied to it with
hmm
loyal fans, only
hmm
fans, all these women that's into the foot fetish world. You got guys that's into the foot fetish world producing books on Amazon, YouTube videos, encouraging women to get into foot fetishing to make money off of it and making a money thing versus a
Mm.
fetish thing. So it's
hmm
so monetized now because of money, and everybody think they're gonna get rich off mauling their feet. That is just so oversaturated where it's actually disgusting. It's
hmm
actually disgusting. So I don't shoot nowhere near like I used to.
hmm
I don't shoot nowhere near because it's too monetized now.
So how do you think we combat that? What do we need to do to reduce the stigma around foot fetish?
That whatever you can do to stop people from being so greedy, get the mentality now is the bag. Everybody want the bag, the bag,
Mm.
the bag, the bag, the bag. Everybody, if you had $1 million, you got the bag already, but yet you still want the bag. So
Mm-hmm.
how much is too much? When is enough enough? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to answer that question, but I don't see no end in sight because everybody want money, 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 money. And it is across all cultures now, whether it be African American, white, black, Hispanic, Asian. Everybody's about money now. Money, 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 money. I ain't want to do nothing unless we talk about money first. It's getting really ridiculous now. So a lot of me and a lot of foot photographers that's been in a lifestyle long standing are getting discouraged with the current crop of foot models and foot fetishists because everything is so monetized because of money. And money is attached to everything now.
Mm-hmm.
It's attached to everything.
Well, I think you sharing your story will help reduce the stigma around foot fetish. So I thank you for being so open.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear what's something that you learned about yourself through years of engaging with your fetish.
I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, I'm 54, and it's something that learns new that you thought you knew that you never knew. So I mean, life is a always evolving thing. So I'm still evolving in the foot fetish, even though I've been a part of it since I was, like I said, 45 plus years into it. So it's still always stuff to learn and grow from that you never thought, that was into the fetish.
Mm-hmm. I'm so curious to hear this. Can you share a peak erotic experience, a moment that felt deeply validating, arousing, or emotionally powerful for you in your fetish journey?
When I tickled my wife's feet and she came,
Mm-hmm. So the first time that happened?
when that happened, that blew my mind because I never thought a person could come from being tickled.
Mm-hmm. Can you share a bit more about it? For example, were you using your fingers to tickle her, an implement? How long do you think it took for her to orgasm? I'm sure people are interested in hearing a little bit more about it if you're happy to share.
Sure. Of course, I have my tickle toolbox, so we were engaging in sexual relations anyway. And the combination of massaging, licking, nibbles, tickling with the fingers over a course of maybe an hour to a half an hour or 45 minutes, led to that experience. And it blew my mind when she told me that she actually came from me tickling her feet and playing with her feet. I never heard that. I think about it now and it's still mind blowing.
Yeah, it's really beautiful that you get to share that with each other. Mm.
Mm-hmm. That's
Now,
why I ain't never leaving her.
I can see why. If you had to sum up your relationship to feet in just one word, what would it be?
Extreme.
I love that. Thanks for
Now,
sharing.
now, what I'm gonna say to you is every guy that's a true blue foot fetisher say that they the most extreme, most hardcore foot fetisher there is.
Mm.
And I live by that motto as well. I think I'm the most extreme, hardcore foot fetish guy there is. But you'll hear that from 100 million other guys as well.
Now, Larry, if people are interested, where can they find your foot fetish photography?
They can go on any social media link on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, X, is called X now, but formerly Twitter. And it's type in Feetfixations. That's what I go by online. That's my moniker, Feetfixations.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to thank you for being so open and sharing yourself with me and our listeners today, Larry. It's been fascinating.
All right. It was my pleasure.
Thank you again. I'm Em, and this has been the Erotic Realm Podcast. Thank you for listening to the Erotic Realm. If this episode stirred something in you, please take a moment to follow the show, leave a rating, or write a review on wherever you're listening. It helps more people find the show and brings visibility to this deeper conversation about eroticism and self-understanding. I'd also like to invite you to dive deeper into the psychology of desire, including my writing, research, and upcoming courses over at psychologyofdesire.com. And if you want the full experience, join thousands of curious minds on my Substack at psychologyofdesire.substack.com. This is where I release the Psychology of Desire case files, behind-the-scenes thoughts, and intimate reflections every week, plus more. Until next time, stay curious, stay embodied, and keep exploring. Also, as always, stay perverted.